Hey friends, my name is Jen. I'm a fitness and nutrition coach with my own company called Benefits Personal Training. Today, I'm going to walk you through a foam rolling routine that you can do at home, at the gym, wherever works best for you, and I'm hoping to show you how to do it correctly and how to get the most benefit from it. Prior to digging in though, I kind of wanted to share what the purpose of foam rolling is so that you have a better understanding of why you're even doing it in the first place. Foam rolling, it's not probably something that's new to you. You've probably at least heard the term. You've probably maybe seen the equipment at the gym. And it's become more and more common in terms of, a practical flexibility approach that has this ability to reduce chronic pain and help us move better. Foam rolling is a flexibility technique used to inhibit overactive muscle fibers. Poor posture, repetitive movements, whether you sit at a desk all day or whether you're doing the same job day in, day out, this can create dysfunction within our body, within our muscle tissues. Our body then responds to these dysfunctions by responding as though they're kind of like an injury, and we start the repair process. And some of that repair process actually involves inflammation, which can show up in our muscles as microspasms. And these aren't probably typical to the muscle spasms that you can identify with where you feel a cramp, but they're more micro, they're on a smaller level. And they contribute to how our muscles move and function. So this is how we kind of end up developing relative flexibility, which is when we seek out the movement with the least resistance. So think about, needing to get down to the floor really fast and then coming back up. When you do it, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, you're kind of doing all these weird motions. But that's what your body is doing, relative flexibility. It's trying to do the job for you, but with the least resistance. And depending on how tight our muscles are, depending on how imbalanced our muscles are, our body's going to respond in different ways. It's not the way that it was intended, but our body still works hard to do the job for us. So this is where foam rolling comes in. Foam rolling, it can help release some of those microspasms that have developed and break up those knots that are created through repetitive, improper movement. With this, the tissue then gains its ability to lengthen, and in combination with stretching, we can greatly increase our range of motion and flexibility. When we combine the two, both foam rolling and stretching, that's how we contribute to less overall pain and better overall movement. So there's a couple ways that we can foam roll. I found one of them. Oh, the other one's there. Okay, the first one is our long foam roller. So this is probably the one that you see most in the gym. You can see them sometimes smooth, soft, or really hard with rigids. The softer and smoother that is the more superficial that area will cover. And this is a great tool for beginners. The ones with rigids, the ones that are really quite hard, those are going to hit more deeper levels of fascia and are very effective, but I wouldn't suggest starting with it just because it can be a little bit more uncomfortable. We can also use things like balls, which are straight to the point, can be really effective. Again though, I would suggest starting with something a little bit more basic, but there is a different array of tools that we can use for foam rolling, all of which achieve the same purpose, which is applying some of that pressure to areas that are either tight, have trigger points, and releasing some of them so that they can increase their extensibility, so they can lengthen the way that they're supposed to, and ultimately so that you can experience less pain because your body begins to move in the way that it was supposed to, not tight and immobile and kind of just run down, right? So one thing we want to consider when we foam roll is we want to try and aim for 30 to 90 seconds. And while we're doing this, we want to stay on those trigger points, and we also want to relax throughout the process. It is totally counterproductive if we seize up while we're trying to foam roll because our muscles will respond to that. They won't be able to relax. So 30 to 90 seconds, finding those tight areas and really holding on them and trying to relax. One thing I will mention if you've never done foam rolling before is that it can be uncomfortable. It can be a little bit painful, but the more you do it, the better that improves. When your body's really tight at the start, it's going to tell you, but foam rolling will help. The main thing is though to go slow, take it at your pace, only do what's comfortable to you for that day, and then just pick up where you left off the next time. I promise you, as you commit to this, you will see benefit, and hopefully from the routine I'm about to show you, you'll be able to incorporate this into your routine and really start to notice a difference that it will make for you. So let's jump in, guys, and we'll go through this foam rolling routine together. All right, friends, so we are going to start on the ground. Get yourself down here as comfortable as you feel able to, and we're going to use a nice long foam roller today. Probably the most common for people and what we see the most in gyms, so that's what we're going to use. Now we're going to start by placing our legs on the foam roller. Okay? When you think about kind of the thickest part of your calf or the widest part of your calf, we're going to start by placing the foam roller there. Okay? And you can have your hands beside you, you can have your hands behind you, but we want to be conscious that we're not rounding and we're staying nice and upright as we do so. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to start there, and right away you might feel something or you might feel nothing at all. And that's totally fine either way. But as you do this, I'm just going to get you to slowly roll back and forth. Now if you have the mobility and lift your bum a little bit to help you do that, that might help. Otherwise, just do a little bit of a scoot, a little bit of a scoot back, whatever works best for you. Okay? Now as you do this, I want you to kind of find a spot that feels a little bit uncomfortable. And you can also kind of windshield wiper your toes a bit in order to find a spot. Okay? I feel more on the outside specifically, so now I'm going to rotate both out just because I can kind of feel that there might be some spots there. And what I want you to do is just hold there. Okay? You're going to hold in the slight point of discomfort, and that's going to help it release. Now, if the intensity is just not that much at this point, then what you can do to add that is you're just going to take one leg at a time. So you'll cross the leg over. Using the body weight of one leg will actually put a little bit more pressure against the foam roller, and you should find that you actually feel an increase in intensity if there is some kind of trigger point there. So regardless of what method you choose, spend a little time here. You can kind of move over that spot. It generally does kind of feel like a ball if you find a really good tight spot, and you're just going to hold there, maybe a little bit of movement, but you're going to kind of wait to see if it will release. When you're ready, you can switch sides if you are doing the one side at a time. One thing we really want to keep in mind when we are foam rolling is that it will be uncomfortable. It might not feel great all the time. But if we can just focus on relaxing and allowing our bodies to adjust, that is the best method. Because when it feels uncomfortable and we just seize up, that actually is kind of counterproductive. It doesn't really allow our bodies to relax into this. So we really want to just focus on our breathing, focus on taking it slow, nothing too crazy. So you notice that I kind of adjusted. I can feel a little bit of a spot slightly lower down, so because I'm just doing one side at a time, I was able to adjust with my foot. Good. Okay, we're going to move on to quads. If you want to pause the video here to spend some more time there, that's totally fine. You're going to flip yourself over. Come onto the knees, come to 4-point kneeling. This will help you kind of get into that position. Now we're going to work the quads. So we're going to foam roll the quads. We're going to start slightly below the hips, but we're going to kind of keep it in the range of just below hips and just above knees. So we're only really working in this range. We're not going past the hips, we're not going past the knees. Okay, so you're going to imagine you're kind of coming to an elbow plank position, putting that foam roller just below your hips. Okay, toes can anchor at the bottom, and right away now you're kind of in a plank position with the foam roller obviously underneath. So what you're going to do is crawl those toes forward or back until you find a spot. Okay, I'm just going to move back slightly. Just so you can adjust, find your sweet spot. Okay, we want to be really mindful as well, regardless of where it feels tight, that we're keeping a nice neutral posture. So we're pushing away using the elbows, we're pushing away from the ground to keep nice strong shoulders, and we're keeping our back nice and neutral. So tucking that rib cage in, squeezing that core, just so we're not getting an excessive arch in our back. We want to stay nice and neutral there so that our quads get the most benefit and our body doesn't hurt as a result. Okay, so wherever you find a spot, you're just going to hold there. Focus on your breathing depending on how tight this is. If you feel a release, you can move on. Find another spot. Might feel your core shake a little bit. You can always take breathers if you need to, but check in with yourself. Make sure that you're engaging that nice neutral posture. Okay. And then when you're done, you're just going to drop the knees, come to the hands, and move on. Okay, next we're going to move on to foam rolling our IT bands, which are the sides of our upper thigh. And I'm going to warn you, and this shouldn't scare you, but this is usually the most intense for people. It can contribute to a lot of knee pain, movement compensations in the lower body. And so we're going to spend some time here, and I want to encourage you to just breathe, relax, and go at whatever capacity feels good for you. So what we're going to start by doing is similar to kind of how we were foam rolling our quads. We're going to get onto the side now though, so it'll be a bit of a side plank position. The legs are stacked, and again, we are starting right underneath that hip position. Almost imagine if you had a pair of pants and where your pocket was, that's kind of the area we want to start in. So you're kind of on your side, but you're slightly forward, okay? And you might notice already that you're like, whoa, this is a lot. And stacking both legs is going to do that. So one thing that we can do to kind of help the intensity here, so we can take it at our own pace, is to bring the top leg up and across. Okay, so right away we kind of loosen the intensity there, we decrease it, and we're able now to actually use some leverage with our body as to what areas we want to cover. So what you're going to do is slowly roll yourself down, and you can kind of play around here with going slightly forward and slightly to the side, but I'm sure you will find a spot here that feels tight. And again, all you're going to do is find kind of the most intense area and just hold there. Focus on your breathing for a bit. And then you're going to move down. If you start to feel a release, you're going to find a new spot. For me, this is quite intense, so you're not alone. And you can move even a little bit further down. Again, keeping the rest of your body neutral, shoulders relaxed, not hunching. Trying to create, just relax, don't tense up if this is really tight. Okay? Now I encourage you to spend some more time there, but for the sake of this video today, just so I can show you everything, I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. Okay, same kind of position as before. Again, you might notice that one side is tougher than the other. For me, my right side feels significantly tighter than my left. Spot, and then you can move on a little bit. Move on a little bit more. Or you can move back. Wherever you find the most uncomfortable area though, I would encourage you just to hold on it for a little while. Good. Right away when you come off, you might even already feel a bit of a release in doing that. So once you spend some time with your IT bands, we're going to flip ourselves over and we're going to start to do our glutes. So come back to a standing position, and now you're actually going to sit on the foam roller. Okay, and if this is like, whoa, what's happening? You can always have a hand down, that's totally fine. Again though, we want to think about a nice upright posture in this position. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by making one leg go straight, and then we're gonna cross that other leg over. Okay, so right away now we're kind of in a forward position. We're gonna take that bottom leg, we're gonna bring it up. Remember, you can have your hand down to help you stabilize in this position, and you're gonna place your other hand on the knee. So right away this is creating a bit of a lean into that one side, and right away you might already start to feel that in your glute. If you don't, however, you can just feel around a little while. Find a spot that feels tight. You might have to kind of position yourself a little bit. This is going to be unique to every single person. Once you find a spot that feels tight though, you're going to hold there. Remember to breathe. Okay, I started to feel my release a little bit, so I'm kind of trying to find potentially a slightly different spot. You can notice that I'm even quite leaned over, and you might find you need to do that as well. Good. When you're ready, you're going to switch hands, readjust the foam roller, leg starts straight, bending the opposite over, lifting up and leaning into that side. Your body in many ways is a bit of a puzzle piece. Depending on the movements that you do, depending on the repetitive things that you do from day to day, different muscles are going to get tight, different muscles are going to start to compensate. You might find that, one glute feels tight, but then one IT bend feels tight, and the other calf. And it's funny how our body is trying to do the very best for us. So it's good in that sense, but as a result, lots of things kind of get out of balance. So that's why foam rolling is so great, for kind of helping our body out. I mean, it's doing a good job for us, but this is just kind of helping restore it back to its best state. And so that's why it's important to just spend some time here. Good. And when you finish that, you're going to unlock the leg, just scoot yourself off. All right, so we're going to move on now to foam rolling our back. We've kind of covered our lower body. We're now going to move into our upper body. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with that foam roller behind us. We're going to scooch our feet forward. Start with it kind of at the ridge of our back, so at the very lowest point, maybe slightly above. And you can use your elbows to help you get into this position. But all you're going to do is lift your hips, okay? Now ideally we want to start in a position where arms are crossed, so if you can, the most ideal position here is to have the arms crossed at your shoulders, nice neutral spine, and then we just lift with the glutes. I realize though, if a lot of you are tight though, sometimes a lot of these things that are the best, most ideal way are still very difficult. So try and get yourself into this position as best you can. Okay, and then all you're going to do is gently roll from about bottom of the rib cage up to the shoulders. Okay? Head nice and neutral as you do this, chin tucked in, core nice and tight. Just rolling gently back and forth. Okay? Anywhere that feels tight though, what have I taught you so far? I want you to pause on it. Okay? If there's just like kind of a general tightness, you can do a nice slow roll, but if there is for whatever reason something that feels quite tight, I want you to try and pause there, okay? Spend some time here as you do this. This one generally you don't necessarily feel too tight. You might have a couple cracks. Hear your back crack, you might feel it crack, and that's okay. But this next one we're going to do, you might also feel, and this one is going to benefit your lower back, because what we're targeting is your lats, if you've ever heard of that muscle, and it originates at the base of your back. And so if it's quite tight, it's actually pulling on your lower back and making it shorter, so making it a little bit more arched. And so by actually releasing this muscle from just below the armpit, we actually can reduce some of that back pain potentially. So what we're going to do is stack the legs. We're going to take the foam roller, we're going to put our elbow onto the other side. So right away the foam roller is kind of in line with my shoulder. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to scooch myself down to the point that it is now basically in line with my chest. Okay? Notice that my hand up here is positioned at thumb up. So let's think about thumb up as we do that. Okay? And in this position you might already feel something. I do. It's not super intense, but I can feel that there is some kind of trigger point. Now what I'm going to get you to do is generally, sometimes you can feel a little bit as you lean forward, but I'm going to get you to open up your chest a little bit, and you might find that, whoa, you feel something now. You might have to scooch around a little bit just to get to that exact spot. And all you're going to do is then hold here, okay? Keeping in mind that we are not in the armpit, but we are slightly below that. So like I said, in line with your chest. You might need to readjust a little bit. Remember to breathe, remember to relax. You can open up your chest quite a bit. I feel this the most now that my chest is the most open. Good, and then when you're ready, come back to neutral. Allow yourself to get up. And then you're going to switch sides. Okay, stacking those feet again, arm comes over, in line with the chest, scooching where we find the best spot in line with our chest there, and then again we have the option of going forward or option of opening up. And for me, this side seems to be the most significant now. Good. You might need to roll forward or back a little bit. Kind of listen to your body here and try and move towards that area of discomfort while also nurturing it, right? Because you're spending time here. Nice. When you're ready, you can come back up and put the foam roller aside. Now, for our last two kind of things that we're going to do today with foam rolling, we are going to use a different piece of equipment, which I realize might not be available to every single person, but I would encourage you to try and find an option here. I'm just using a ball. It's a moderate intensity. It's not super stiff, but we're going to use this to kind of roll out some of our neck and chest muscles, which can be quite tight. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of bend in a gentle way our head to the side. We're going to just start by kind of rolling into some of the tightest areas of our shoulders. Most of us have quite tight shoulders, so it's probably not going to be hard to find a spot. You're just going to kind of feel around here, basically from the base of your ear all the way to your shoulder. Feel out if there's anything that feels tight there. And if there is, I want you to apply a little bit of pressure. If you don't have a ball, you can just use your hands to do this. But when you find a spot that feels tight, I just want you to apply a little bit of pressure, keep that head slightly tilted, and breathe into it. Okay, you can move it around a little bit. Might be quite tight, for me it is. Okay, and you can also go slightly forward and slightly back. So you might find in the back too that there's some more areas. Okay, just spend some time there, find a really good spot. It should, as painful as it might be, it should also feel very good. Good, okay, you're gonna take that ball off, bring the head back gently, give yourself a couple shoulder rounds there. And then you're going to switch and do the other side. So, gentle stretch to start, and then you're just going to roll down that neck and see if you can find anything. This side, for whatever reason now, is super tight. So my left was tight, my right was tight. It's all different. Again, find the spots that feel tight, and then just resting there. Remembering to breathe. ball, bring the head back to neutral. Again, a couple shoulder rounds. Wow, does that already feel better? Okay, and then the last one you're going to do is fairly similar to neck, but now you can imagine your collarbones. You're just going to do the upper portions of your chest. So kind of starting from where the collarbones originate all the way to the center. You might find that there are some areas in and around your shoulders. So you can even foam roll into your shoulders if you want. This will be really intuitive to kind of where you're at and what feels tight. Kind of right at my collarbone joint, I can feel that it's quite tight in my chest. Okay, so you're just going to kind of roll it around. You might even need both hands to kind of help you apply that pressure. You're going to find a spot, and then you're going to breathe through it. If you have any kind of shoulder issues, foam rolling or ball rolling, more so your neck and your chest can be really helpful. A lot of shoulder issues originate from that. When you're ready, you can go ahead and switch sides. Spend time here if you need to. Good. Spend as much time as you need there. Take the ball off, relax a little bit. You might even want to just open up your chest a bit to feel that stretch. But basically we've covered top to bottom, bottom to top. There are a few other ones that you can add into this, but just be mindful that regardless of the foam rolling you do, because you're kind of listening to where those tight spots are in your body, keep that nice neutral spine. Maintain that good posture. Think about your breathing. Try and relax into this and spend at least 30 to 90 seconds with each kind of tight spot. I know today was a bit of an express routine in some ways, but we want to make sure that you really take the time to do this. And I'm sure by now that you already feel a little bit of a benefit. I do. And so just imagine if you really committed some time and energy to this. So I hope today was helpful for you guys. I hope you gained something from this, both an understanding and also some practical tips and actions that you can take now. These exercises are yours to use over and over and over again. If you want, you can watch this video as many times as you want. But thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your guys' time and attention, and I hope truly that this will help contribute to, creating your best you, whatever that looks like. So thanks guys, and we'll talk soon.